My name's Aspen, if I haven't met you before. And I'm just going to kind of tell you guys my story and how I came to know Jesus. So when I was little, my family was one of those families who kind of went to church like once every 2 months or so. Like we'd go on Christmas and Easter and all that. But when I was a little kid, I didn't really know exactly what a relationship with Jesus looked like. I knew who Jesus was, and I knew stories from the Bible and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't actually know what it looked like to follow Jesus or give your life to him. And I never really, the few times my family would go to church, I never really connected with other kids, like at the youth group or anything, because I was a very shy kid, and I had pretty bad social anxiety when I was little. So I did not like going to church at all. I didn't connect with any of the kids. I didn't know what it looked like to follow Jesus. I was just kind of confused with the whole thing, and my family didn't even go that often, so it wasn't a big thing in my life. And when I was about 12 years old, my family, so I grew up in Montana, but when I was 12 years old, my family picked up and moved here to Colorado, and that completely changed my life. I was in a completely new setting, and didn't know a single soul here. No one in my family knew anyone here in Colorado. And like I said, I was very shy as a kid, had pretty bad social anxiety, so you can imagine what it was like for me to just pick up and move, and it was very hard. And at that point in my life, God and Jesus was just kind of in the back of my mind, didn't really know how he would play a part in my life with what I was struggling with, because I was just not very happy at that point in my life. My family found a church here in Colorado, but again, we would still only go once every 2 months, not go that often. We never really connected with anyone at our church or anything, so it wasn't really a big thing in my life. Until when I was a sophomore in high school, that was when COVID happened for me. COVID happened when I was a freshman in high school, and then it went into my sophomore year of high school. And just being home and having nothing to do, I looked over at my Bible one day and I was like, I've never actually read this. The only thing I've actually heard from this is the few times I've been to church, and I don't actually know what it says or really what it is. So I don't know, I just had this curiosity about the Bible and God and stuff, and I had nothing else to do because it was COVID, so I started reading my Bible just on my own, and it was kind of confusing because I didn't really know where to start or what it was talking about, but then I started going to church with my dad all the time because I wanted to know more about the Bible, and I wanted to just learn what it was saying and stuff. And so my dad and I would go to church together every single week, starting in my sophomore year of high school, and that's kind of where my faith journey started. I still didn't really know how to follow Jesus. I was just kind of starting out my faith and just kind of learning what it was like and learning about Jesus. And in high school, ever since I moved to Colorado, I was pretty lonely in school. I feel like I kind of knew everyone, everyone knew me, but I never found my group of people in high school, because I went to a very big high school, so it was just hard to find my people, and I didn't really love high school at all. And all I wanted in high school was to find my group of people and be in community with people who were like me, and I didn't have that really in high school until the summer before my senior year of high school. A girl on my dive team told me about a summer camp called Camp Timberline, and all I heard was that it was a Christian summer camp, and I thought it sounded fun, and I was just starting out in my faith. All I had in my faith was a little bit of the Bible I had started reading, so I wanted to go because I thought it would really help me and teach me how to live with Jesus and probably give me Christian friends. So I went to Camp Timberline, and that really started my faith journey. That's where it kind of took a turn, because that was my first time actually being surrounded by other Christians and having Christian friends and stuff, and also having counselors who answered my questions about the Bible, because again, even though I was going to church with my dad every single week, I never got involved at the youth group there, which is not good. Get involved in youth group. You guys are good job for being here, because it's good to get involved and have people to surround you. Because I was kind of on my own in my faith journey when I first started out. But so then when I went to Camp Timberline, it like completely took a turn. I had people surrounding me, supporting me, and it felt like the people there genuinely loved me and were like genuinely invested in my faith and wanted to pray for me, and I'd never had that before. So that was the summer before my senior year of high school, and that really changed my path following God. And then my senior year of high school happened, and still was pretty lonely at school, but I had a lot more of a solid faith my senior year, and I still never got involved in a youth group because I didn't want to go alone. I didn't want to go by myself. So I just kind of had what camp had given me. And my whole senior year of high school, I was pretty leaning on God the whole year because I had no idea where I wanted to go to college, and I had no idea what I wanted to do in college, or if I even wanted to go to college. So I was very confused and scared for the future. And now I know, like looking back, God put me here for a reason, and I know He did. And so leaning on Him in that situation was the best thing I could have done. And then the summer after I graduated high school, I went back to Camp Timberline because I had so much fun the first time. And I did this other program that they have, which is like a service program. So since I was older, I couldn't be a camper there anymore, so I was serving the camp, like serving the kids, and like cleaning and stuff, and that also was another turning point in my faith because the people there were even more invested in me, and it was a 2-week long thing too, so that just really gave me like solid friendships in Christ, and it just gave me the community that I had been praying for in high school ever since I started following Jesus. Like I have been praying just for a good Christian community, and camp really gave it to me that year, that summer. And then my freshman year of college happened, and I went to Annex. If you don't know what Annex is, it's the college ministry we have here at Grace Commons for CU students. Because when I was at Camp Timberline the summer before, a guy from CU saw I was wearing a CU hat, and he told me about Annex. So I remembered it for my freshman year, and I went. And I truly think, because again, I was very scared. I didn't know anyone at Annex the first time I went, and I was just in my car. I remember when I first showed up, I was in my car, and I was so scared to go in because I didn't know anyone there except for the guy who told me about it, who I barely knew. So I was just so terrified, and I really think God forced me to get out of my car and go into the church that night, because Annex completely changed my life and my faith journey, and gave me a community for life. I found my best friends there, and so yeah, I really think God literally forced me to get out of my car that night and go to Annex. And so that was definitely an answered prayer, because it gave me, again, the Christian community I had been longing for all of high school. The very beginning of my second semester of freshman year, my dad actually got diagnosed with cancer, which was pretty rough, not news anyone wants to hear. And it was right at the beginning, right when the semester started. So it was just a rough way to start the semester and the year. And I just was not feeling hopeful at that point in my life. I didn't want to go back to school. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be at home with my family. But the first few months of my dad getting diagnosed, I think God really gave me the gift of faith those first few months. I've never experienced an amount of faith that I experienced in those first few months. And just the amount of full faith and full trust I felt in him when he did get diagnosed was just I've never felt that much faith before, and I think that was a gift from God. He gave me the faith to trust him, because I think if I didn't have faith from him during that time, I think my world would have crumbled and it would have not have been good. It was still rough going back to school and stuff, but it was just like unlike anything I've ever experienced, the faith that he gave me in those first few months. So that semester was still pretty hard, but I think I only got through it because of the trust I was able to have in God, and that I knew he had a plan, and I knew God didn't give him cancer, but I knew he was going to work through my dad's cancer, and he was going to work through that situation. So I made it through the semester, and then this past summer, I went back to Camp Timberline, surprise, surprise, and I worked there as a camp counselor. I actually worked there for basically the whole summer, and that summer also was filled with so many answered prayers, gave me so many new friendships, again, more best friends for life. So prayers that I have been praying since I was in high school, he's still answering. He still answered last year, like only a couple months ago, which just shows me how faithful he is. I left that summer like a completely different person than I went into it, just with a deeper relationship with Jesus and a trust that he will literally bring good out of every situation that you could be in. And it reminds me of a verse. If you know me, you know I love Romans, and this verse is from Romans 8:28, and it says, "And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose." So I really think that verse just attests to the year I had last year. How I started out the year with news that no one would want to hear, and news that really just discourages you, but he has brought good out of that situation, and I think he still will bring good out of that situation. So, And I've just realized coming out of all of last year, I've just realized that he's constantly working in me and making me into the person he wants me to be for the good of his kingdom, and I don't think he will ever stop working in me, and I don't think he'll ever stop working in you guys either. He's never done working on you, and I think it's important to bring your fears and your doubts to him. Like when my dad first got diagnosed with cancer, I did have fears, and I had so many fears, so many doubts. But I brought that to him. The most important thing is not keeping those from him and not turning away from him because you don't understand, turning to him because you don't understand, and asking him to answer your questions and work through your situation because he will bring good out of it. So looking back on my faith journey and my life, I can only see his faithfulness and all the things he's done for me throughout my entire life. There's so many other situations that I haven't talked about that he's done so much good for me. My very favorite verse in the Bible is 2 Timothy 2:13, which says, "When we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny himself." And I think that verse just really ties into my testimony and how in moments when I had no faith and even when I was little and I didn't really care to even know him, he still had faith in me, and he never gave up on me, and he still chased after me, and and he's still making me into the person he wants me to be. So thank you guys for listening.